So from last time, we talked about the cloud. We defined the cloud, and can someone remind us what is our definition of the cloud? Got a lot of different parts. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything we want to change or add to that? So uh, delivered over the internet, so uses the infrastructure of public internet. Sounds good. Sounds good. Can be used for storage. Uh, Scalable. Okay. What do you mean by scalable?
If you need more power, the servers can grant you more power for the time you need it. That way you're not too much that you're not using.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. So then my question is the cloud only used for storage, or can it be used maybe for processing as well? Be processing data, doing other things than storage. Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Actually, we'll see that there are all sorts of things on top of storage, even on top of processing, that can be outsourced to a cloud vendor. Okay. Anything else we want to add to that? So we've got it's delivered over the public internet. Can be used for storage. It's elastic, I think, so maybe that's the scalable idea. So elastic meant that the cloud resources could be increased or decreased, in a relatively short period of time. What else was part of our definition? Cool. Okay. Awesome. Cool. So we've got the fact that the resources are pooled. So one cloud vendor might be serving the needs of several different organizations at once. Cool. Whether that's storage or security or networking or uh, hosting the applications. Like for example, Facebook is an application that's delivered. It's a web app. It's delivered via cloud technology. iCloud, when you store your photos and calendar events, those are stored in a network of servers that Apple lets us or that Apple owns. So we said the cloud is the elastic leasing of pooled resources via the public internet. And we left off here with some benefits of outsourcing to the cloud versus trying to do things on site. And we said that with cloud-based hosting, there are smaller capital requirements because you don't need the servers on site. You don't need the people to manage the servers on site. There's greater flexibility to adapt to fluctuating demand. There's better security and disaster preparedness. So if all your data is stored, on site and something bad happens to it, kind of the recovery is not as robust as it would be with outsourcing to the cloud. There's no obsolescence. What did that mean? Cool, awesome. Yeah, exactly. Cool. So we don't have to worry about buying this really expensive server and then it no longer being useful, after some period of time. And we said that cloud vendors benefit from economies of scale and therefore are cheaper. So, and who can remind us, what did that mean, economies of scale? Cool, awesome, great. The more you have, the cheaper it is to update it or to produce more. Awesome. Cool. In-house hosting, on the other hand, we said provide some control over where the data is. And that could be good for certain industries, ones where, the data is sensitive or that maybe there are legal requirements that prevent the data from, being somewhere else. How about the negatives? So with cloud-based hosting, we're kind of dependent, right, on the cloud vendor. And kind of the flip side of the positive, we lose control over the data location. Also, although the security it tends to be better, there's not too much visibility into it. So we don't exactly know, okay, what are the mechanisms keeping everything secure, even though those mechanisms, we trust are out there. And same with disaster preparedness capabilities. We're not sure what their plan is, but we know that it's still better than just keeping everything local, on site. The negatives are kind of the reverse of the positives. So for in-house hosting, there's a lot of capital required, as well as the cost associated with development and maintenance and support. There are the costs of training staff and managing, staff. If everything's on site, it's almost impossible to accommodate fluctuating demand. It's not like with our shared, our pooled resources where things can be increased, decreased kind of at a moment's notice. That's just not true if everything's being done on site. With a lot of cloud vendors, the costs are pretty clear up front. With in-house hosting, the costs are relatively uncertain. And with in-house hosting, even those costs might go to waste after a few years, the resources that those costs paid for might become obsolete, might become outdated. Bless you. So, by the way, this is a chapter that if you have something, from work or from outside that you want to contribute, I think we've all we definitely, I would imagine, have all used the cloud for something or other. Cloud computing doesn't make sense when, for example, law or standard industry practice prevents a company from outsourcing its data or from placing it elsewhere. For example, a financial institution might be legally required to maintain control over their data. So they might not just be able to put things, just on the cloud. That might not work for them. Can you tell us a little more? Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so even though there's better security, it's not perfect. And great, okay. Over the last few years, though, there are some factors that have made cloud-based hosting advantageous. So for those organizations that it does work for, they'll benefit from developments in processing that have brought down the cost of processing developments that have brought down the cost of data communication and data storage. So if these weren't so cheap, then we wouldn't see the level of cloud computing that we see today. And what does this mean? So virtualization technology, what does that refer to?
It's basically someone else's computer.
Nice. Okay, awesome, cool. So your own computer is kind of hosting the appearance of another computer. Cool. Cool. So a virtual machine, for example, Java programs are one example of programs that require a virtual machine. And with virtualization technology, it's easy to have these programs run on computers that don't technically have that virtual machine, but because of if that virtual machine's outsourced to the cloud, then those computers can use that and run those Java programs. So that could be good for software developers, for example, who don't have the programs required to run what they're developing, or maybe they don't want them. Maybe they want them to be just exported to the cloud, but they can still develop programs using these virtual machines. So any questions, by the way? So there are three kind of levels of cloud computing, ranging from least to most dependent on cloud technologies. So kind of the least dependent is this first level, infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. So this means that exported to the cloud, so outsourced, are the servers, the virtualization technology, the server hardware, the storage, and the networking capabilities. But everything else, applications, runtimes, which are special programs that are needed to let certain applications run, security and integration, and databases, these would be something that we would still manage on site. The next level up, platform as a service, or PaaS. It's kind of the middle level of outsourcing to the cloud. So applications, meaning software programs, are still, you know, on site. So those are just not exported to the cloud. But everything else is. This third level we're probably all familiar with, even if we haven't called it this. This is software as a service. By the way, platform as a service and infrastructure as a service, these would be things like that probably not the typical just individual would use. Software as a service, this would be something that the typical individual would use. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, let's put iCloud. And did you say Dropbox? Cool. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. It's mostly used for developers who are developing applications. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. So here, everything's on the cloud. And this would be, for example, yeah, any web app, right? So if you go to Facebook and you're using that site, the Facebook application, it's not on your computer. And if your computer disconnects from the internet, you can't use it. Uh, Everything though, not just the application, but also all the data behind it, all the processing that's going on, all the security, all the storage of all of those photos, some more embarrassing than others. None of that though is on your computer or your phone that you're accessing that web app with. It's all delivered over the cloud. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, exactly. Nice. Nice. Uh-huh. Yeah. So if they need like very little cloud computing, but they just need like a whole lot of extra storage. Yeah. Uh-huh. That could be used for this first. Yeah. Uh-huh. So, good question. Yeah. So let's get several examples. Yeah. So, other SaaS products: Google Mail, Google Drive, Office 365, Salesforce.com, and can anyone think of some others for software as a service? Yeah, Salesforce, by the way, has anyone used that or did you hear that? Pretty much, yeah, pretty much, yeah, any web app, yeah, yeah. QuickBooks, okay, cool. Because I haven't used that, so I'm not sure. Is oh, okay, cool, cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that sounds good. And if so, you install something on your computer first, or okay, okay, might be, yeah. I'm not sure which one it would fall under. Yeah, I'm not sure. Software as a service or platform as a service. It sounds like maybe one or the other. What else? Mint. Okay, cool. What is Mint?
Um, budgeting app, like
Cool.
go to and all of your expenses.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, cool. And so it sounds like uh the software that's doing that and the data with your like account balances and everything, that's all exported to their servers. Okay, cool. Uh-huh. Oh, that's a good question. So that happens, but it shouldn't happen. Yeah, yeah, it shouldn't happen. Yeah, but yeah, you could read like the privacy policy, right? Yeah, and so check out the terms and conditions. But really, companies shouldn't be selling any identifying information. So anything that can, be connected to you individually, like your social security number, your name and birth date, stuff like that. Yeah, phone number. Shouldn't be selling those, but sometimes it happens. Or like we said, yeah, that data might be uh, subject or kind of vulnerable um, to threats. Yeah, maybe not being sold, but being stolen. You might think that if a business just switches to using Google Drive, that they won't have to do anything else, that everything will just be, exported to the cloud. That's not true, though. They'll still have to transfer existing data, develop procedures, and train their employees to use those software as a service products. Does anyone's office use Google Drive or something similar? Yeah, cool. What do you use? Google Drive. Okay, awesome. Cool. And where do you work and what do you do with it? Cool. Okay, awesome. Cool. Okay. Nice. So whereas in the olden days we might have to meet up and kind of keep everything, there had to be kind of some level of physical proximity to share data. Yeah, with these cloud technologies, if the data is in the cloud and if the application is being delivered over the cloud, yeah, these software as a service products let people work simultaneously on things that weren't possible before. Actually, there's an example of a surgeon doing surgery from one side of the Atlantic Ocean, and the person that they were operating on was on the other. Okay, so this is possible because of cloud computing. So more examples. Software as a service. We've got Salesforce.com, Google Grid, Microsoft SkyDrive, which now they call OneDrive, and Office 365, Apple iCloud. These are all software as a service. Platform as a service used, like Jess mentioned, and like we said a second ago, is used primarily by developers, software developers, using, for example, Microsoft Azure, Oracle On Demand. And then infrastructure as a service, this kind of bare bones level of cloud computing, maybe not in its size, but just in the scope of services that's provided. But people might still use a whole lot of storage at this level. So Amazon has EC2 Elastic Cloud and also S3 Simple Storage Service. When you're watching a video on YouTube, that video is not just being sent from location A. If you're, let's say, your location B, and it's not just being sent, from one location that you can pinpoint directly to you. So if you watch that video 2 times in a row, or if 2 people are watching it in different locations, that video data might be getting pulled from different sources, different servers, or server farms. A content delivery network is a system of hardware and software that stores data in different geographical locations and makes it available on demand. So here, for example, are the servers used in a CDN service. Here are the server locations for Amazon's CloudFront. And you can see there are a bunch of server locations, many in North America, Europe, some in South America, Southeast Asia, Australia. So the data that YouTube is hosting is replicated on servers across this content delivery network. And that's good news for a couple reasons. Can anyone think of some reasons that that would be, kind of some benefits from replicating? Okay, you can find everything on YouTube. Cool. Okay, cool. Uh-huh. Yeah. And how long does it take to find something on any time? Cool. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, Louis. Oh, yeah. Well, so uh kind of the fact that it's Amazon is highly available, so it'd be very unlikely to go to Amazon and see that the site is down. Yeah, or to go to YouTube, see that the site is down. Uh-huh. Or for things to take a really long time. Yeah, on Amazon or on YouTube, just for a couple of examples. Yeah. So replicating the data in a bunch of different locations allows it to be delivered faster. And if one of those locations can't deliver data, the other ones can take their place. So the benefits of these content delivery networks are a decreased load time. One particular server might be used, when you watch the video at 8 a.m. and then if you watch it again at 8:10 a.m., maybe a different server is, being used to pass on that content. Okay. And it's all calculated to optimize the load time. So whichever server thinks it's going to be able to deliver it fastest kind of wins or, ends up doing that. Increase reliability. So if one of the servers fails, the others can pick up its place. What does this mean? What's a DOS attack? Denial of service, yeah. What is kind of the events that would lead up to that? Okay, ping, what does that mean? Okay, but it's okay, yeah. Yeah. Okay, awesome, great. Okay, cool. So uh, when uh, when a server is inundated with requests, and these requests can be bogus requests that are coming from uh, this botnet that you talked about. So some computers that are unknowingly making tons of requests to a server for content, and then that server is having to respond to those requests, and it becomes flooded with these requests so much that it can't deliver content anymore. So service is a denial of service attack. And yes, and DDoS, distributed denial of service, means, yeah, there's a bunch, and this is kind of the common way that this would work is, yeah, there are a bunch of computers that are involved in making these bogus requests that'll flood the server with too much, much to process. So if that happens to one of these servers in a content delivery network, it's not that big of a deal because there are other servers that can step in and take its place. maybe that's what you meant earlier by scalable. Jeremy is, or I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry. So is that something you had in mind? Or, cool, cool, awesome, cool. So scalable, yeah. If one part of a system fails, uh, the rest can step in, or it's easy to add, yeah, parts to a system. And also, there are reduced delivery costs for mobile users. Because the data is replicated, though, you might imagine that CDNs are better equipped to store and deliver content that isn't changing. Because if the content does change, those changes are going to have to be replicated all throughout that network. So here's something that I'm guessing some of us have had some exposure to, which is VPNs. Has anyone used one of these before? Okay, cool. So a VPN, yeah. Can you tell us what did you use it for? What is that? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool. It sounds like this is a way. By the way, it stands for Virtual Private Network. VPN. It's a way that we can kind of appear as though we're joining a different network, so that our computer is part of a different network than we're actually connected to, and that can then give the appearance of being in, yeah, a different location, um, and then give us access to the resources that are only available to people who are, in that location or connected to that network. Yeah, yeah, you are, yeah. Oh, but not in China. Yeah, China is cracking down, I've heard, on these VPN services because they have become so popular because so much web content is blocked. So one way to work around that is to use the VPN service. Yeah, okay. So let me show you an example and tell you about one too. So um, when I was a student at UCSD, they have a bunch of resources that are only available if you're on campus. So like access to journals and stuff like that. If you're at home, you couldn't just go to um, those sources. But if you connected through their VPN, which I think it's still installed here, you can connect remotely. And once you're connected then to the outside world, it looks like I'm at UCSD. And so I can use the things that I could use at UCSD. Oh, if I had a VPN, yeah, to connect to Harvard, then yes. Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So for any network, uh, um, yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly. So I would need a special permission to use a VPN to connect to the Harvard network. Yeah, uh-huh. If I had that. Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, this one was on the UCSD website and it just said, download this and use your login information and that's uh-huh. Mm, mm. Cool. Yeah, in fact, let's do that. Uh-huh, let's do that. So maybe not on Tinder, but that'd be cool. Yeah, let's say we wanted to I don't know, yeah, uh-huh, uh give the appearance that we were somewhere else. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to just to Chrome and let's the incognito window and let's just ask where am I? Uh so this is saying that I'm in Linda Vista in San Diego around Mesa College. Not quite right. I wonder if that's uh-huh. Still in San Diego? Yeah, cool. I wonder if that's because I'm still connected to the UCSD one. Um, we disconnect from that. Uh, and let me try to log into a VPN that should connect us to a network well, we can pick the country. Yeah, uh-huh. So here's a service called ProXPN. There are tons and tons of these out there, of these VPN services, and we have our choice. We could let's go to a different country. So do Toronto, Canada, London, Great Britain, San Jose, Costa Rica, Amsterdam, Netherlands, Zurich, Czech Republic. Here's a bunch of, or Switzerland. Um, yeah, and let me make this bigger too. Someone, Sydney? Okay, cool. Oh, Sydney. Okay, and then we'll just click connect. Exactly. Uh-huh. Good call. Yeah, exactly. So, Citus question. This is so we can access web services in Sydney. Uh, yeah, exactly. We should then have the appearance as though we're in Sydney, so sites will deliver content to us as though we were in Sydney. Yeah, looks like we're connected. Sorry, bank areas? Oh, bakeries. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's go back to Google and let's ask where am I again? And yeah, I think if we asked, for bakeries near me, then let's see if we get them in Sydney or where. Where am I? Or someone to just still loading. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I can't see. I'm trying to find out. Out. Taking a while. Am I? Oh, I'm not sure. Not sure. Uh, huh. But your location is sometimes stored in cookies, and so that could be a reason that yeah, if you hadn't cleared or deleted your cookies, then you might still be seen as being in Japan. So this is interesting. It looks like we are trying to access the Google site in Australia because we see google.com.au, but it's taking a while. Australia is, you know, way far away. Maybe we should try to connect to one a little closer and see if we get a response. Um, yeah, because actually things do take a little longer to get across the ocean. Okay, cool. Okay, here we are. Brisbane, Queensland. Okay. Yeah, I've always wanted to. Yeah. Go there. Okay. So, and we'll see if the map loads. Um, people in other classes have told me they've used VPNs to try to view videos that are like, like they have a series that they like, but it's they could only watch it on the BBC, so they, try to connect to a network in, uh, yeah, in another country, right? To get the BBC content. Anyone else? So anyone else use one of these VPNs for anything? Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. Um, One benefit of VPNs, though, they do actually provide an extra level of encryption. So some people use it, right, not to access data that's only available in other networks, but to have better encryption. Uh-huh. Well, should we try a different? This one? Oh, I guess that just gave up. Oh yeah. Let's try. We could try. Well, I guess we could give it a little longer, or we could see. Okay, let's see here. Maybe we can connect to. Does anyone want to try a different country? Toronto? Okay, cool. Toronto? Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, this looks good. Okay. We're in Canada. Okay, I'll take it. Montreal. Cool. And okay, great. Yeah. Okay. So, any questions about any of that? Oh, well, with phone numbers, and zip codes, let's see if maybe we can. Uh-huh. Do you mean like if we looked for addresses or yeah? Oh yeah, I don't know how it's working. Yeah. Oh. Huh. Oh. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So the term for this, by the way, is spoofing, and so the location spoofing or IP address spoofing, or it sounds like with phone numbers as well. Cool. All right. Are we still connected to Australia? I forget. I think I just disconnected us. Or from, is it Montreal? Okay, cool. Well, Iceland. Or how about Sweden? Okay. Do you have a question over there? Oh. Well, so everywhere, even if you're in a well, okay, there are even places in the U.S. that don't have internet coverage, like very like rural areas, but you can still get satellite internet in those places. Yeah. It just might be kind of slow. It might be like at 2G speeds. Yeah, which is like I even get frustrated at 4G LTE speeds, you know. So, but luckily, yeah, most people, if they have some device to connect to the internet, and if yeah, they can sign up for one of these satellite internet services. So those are maybe two big ifs. Can get on the internet, but some people, yeah, really don't have those resources and wouldn't be able to connect to the internet at all. Okay. So we're kind of doing the opposite. So we're kind of doubling up on networks, you know. Some people have zero access to any networks. Here we're using one network to tunnel into, meaning connect with a VPN to another network. And some countries have really bad latency problems too, meaning, yeah, there's internet, but it takes forever. Yeah. Okay. Cool. But even North Korea, which is very isolated, has internet, but it's not like available to everyone, you know. So that's a tough question, yeah, to exactly answer. Kind of a yes and no. So you could imagine the way that I might want to connect to UCSD network from my home. Maybe there are branch locations that want to connect to each other, maybe the San Francisco branch and the New York branch of the same bank. So VPN would be a viable option. The VPN builds an encrypted tunnel that allows a computer that's not physically connected to a specific network to have access to resources on that network. VPNs use the public internet, but they provide an extra layer of encryption. So it's more secure to send data right now that we're connected to this VPN service than to send it before when we weren't connected to it. What that looks like, maybe there's some resource at the Chicago site on a server there that can be accessed by client computers at the Chicago site. That server or servers and the client computers that are connected to it form a local area network or LAN. And remember last time when we had the files and databases and programs that no longer had to be on individual computers but were hosted by the server, and then people at that site could use those. Those we didn't call it this, but now that we have this term, we can, is a LAN, yeah, local area network. The actual process of using a VPN involves a VPN client who connects over the internet through their ISP, their internet service provider, who could be like, you know, Cox or Spectrum or AT&T. Will tunnel into this local area network And here's the VPN server, which is kind of processing the requests from the outside, and is kind of at the perimeter of this network. And here, it's represented as a cloud, but really it's not a literal cloud. It's just the pipes and routing and lines that are installed by the cable companies, pretty much. That most likely these messages would be delivered over. So the internet backbone, just the paths of communication along the public internet, which are actually underground. They're not above us, although satellite internet, I guess, would be above us. Kind of physically, to get a physical sense and concrete sense of where these things are. To the outside world, though, as we saw, it appears as though this remote client, which is using a VPN, is part of this local area network, and therefore has access to the same resources that other client computers on that local area network have. Any questions about that? Cool. Anyone else have any VPN stories they want to add or share? Okay. So what happens if we start relaxing some of those terms in our definition of the cloud? We said it was the elastic leasing of pooled resources over the internet. What if we got rid of that pooled part? The result would be a private cloud. So pooled, if we remember, the pooled part meant that company A and company B would be sharing servers. If they didn't want to share servers, they didn't want to pool their resources. An organization can own and operate cloud technologies for its own benefit, but they wouldn't be pooled with other organizations. Still wouldn't be on site, but other places wouldn't be able to be using those servers. These are not common in small businesses. But the idea is, in a private cloud, that pooled part of the definition is no longer applies. If there's some server that is idle, it's not going to be able to be leased by outsiders. Oh, most likely, yeah. Yeah, most likely, yeah. Yeah. With a private cloud, yeah, sure, resources are not pooled, but they still have to be elastic. If we were to relax both of those parts of the definition, elastic and pool, so then what would we have? So we would have the cloud is the leasing of the elastic leasing of pooled resources over the internet. So we would just have the leasing of resources over the internet. If a server is not elastic, so can accommodate fluctuating demand, but is also not pooled, that would probably be known as an intranet. Cool. So it's just like kind of like a. Does anyone have one of these maybe at work? It's like kind of like a website, but you can only log on to it when you're at work. Cool. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Can you tell us more? Yeah. What?
So in the military, I did aircraft maintenance, and we had to track all of our maintenance with you can't access it on it'll only pull up on a military network.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Cool. And what? Can you tell me? Yeah. What are your roles in the military? What are your branches of service?
It's
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Wow. Okay. Cool. So this is like the perfect comparison. And so you were using different intranets at these different these different branches. Cool. Okay. Cool. Awesome.
and they're constantly upgrading it, but they upgrade it like we'll go through an entire system that never worked for like 3 years, and then when you finally get it to work, they upgrade it to a new system because it hasn't worked for 3 years, and then it doesn't work again.
Cool. You both have that. Okay. Is anyone else in the military here? Okay. Yeah, that sounds like a good answer. Yeah, so it's no small feat, in other words, to set up an intranet. And even more difficult to set up a private cloud because that it would have everything that an intranet would have, plus being able to be elastic, so to accommodate fluctuating demand. So don't let these terms throw you. There's a lot of virtual and private and cloud and kind of being combined in different ways. So here we've got our public cloud, which if we just started this diagram over here, we've got some enterprise who might be wanting to use a public cloud, the public cloud, which would be external to that organization. They might want to use, like we saw on that last slide, a private cloud. So not pooled resources in that case. A virtual private cloud is actually a subset of the public cloud, but with highly restricted access. So yet another option. It's a subset of the public cloud, so it uses the same infrastructure as the public cloud, really the public internet. But it's more secure, so there are extra layers of security. So you might be wondering, virtual private cloud and private cloud, these seem, very similar. The difference is a virtual private cloud is actually external to the organization and would require permissions from regulatory agencies to host sensitive data, on the cloud, even though it's in this secured subset of the cloud. And you might be thinking also VPC and VPN, virtual private, but really these are very different. Virtual private cloud, the highly restricted subset of the public cloud. Virtual private network was that way that we connected to other networks remotely. So even though the terminology sounds the same, the concepts are pretty different. Okay, so that was a lot. Any questions about any of that? So it sounds like some of us are already using cloud technologies at work. Um, as time goes on, fewer organizations are going to have to worry about setting up their own infrastructure. In other words, they can outsource a lot of computing needs to the cloud, which is awesome. Kind of provides a lot of benefits for a lot of people. Organizations can obtain elastic resources at a very low cost. Like in the Academy Awards example, where a company might be worried about too many people trying to view their site right after an ad runs, and that lagging, the response time. The cloud, and we've kind of seen this happen already, opens the door for more small tech-based startup businesses. As well as new categories of work. Things like visiting the doctor remotely, even having surgery remotely, or doing law enforcement remotely or using cloud services. And here's a cool example. So in 2001, Dr. Jacques Moresco, located in New York, performed the first transatlantic surgery when he successfully removed the gallbladder of a patient in Strasbourg, France. Yeah. I'm not quite sure, yeah. Oh, cool. Uh, I think it was, yeah, like a kind of robotic setup. Yeah, yeah, and right, like high precision. Yeah. And if maybe we could look up pictures and try to find what this actually. I wonder if um, there's any photos of this. Yeah, I have a vague idea of what you're talking about. You see something? Uh-huh. Oh, cool. Okay. I think I'm in like Sweden now or something. Oh no, I guess no, just on Miramar, but it's just being slow. Let's see. Okay, maybe I have to look at that later. Yeah, I'd be curious to see that. Yeah. I'm not sure what the details are. Yeah. Can someone, do you see like an article or anything with that? Um, yeah. So yeah, can you tell us, yeah, how, what does that look like? Wow. A monitor with special gloves or some kind of, wow. 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 Huh. Cool. I'll try to pull that up. Oh gosh, I don't like this. These pictures. Like real emergency rooms. Okay. Yeah, maybe if there's a few minutes, we can take a look at some of those. Um, but one of the last things we can say is uh, the reduced costs of cloud computing and the kind of possible technologies that are available because of it can increase the value of top-notch performers. So places like Amazon, for example, uh, the cloud can actually increase uh, business for them significantly. Just a few closing notes about security. So on networks, uh, the internet, by the way, is a network of networks. So picture a bunch of those LANs connected together. Uh, Data is sent via packets. They're known as packets of data. Uh, they contain the data that's being sent and some information about the sender and receiver. To intercept those is known as packet sniffing. And that's a possibility if you connect, for example, to like a public network at Starbucks, for example. People might be on that network trying to intercept your communications, eavesdrop, basically. So on public networks, this is a possibility and can be done even by people outside the room. You don't see it. So never send any sensitive data except in a website that starts with HTTPS. S stands for SSL, and SSL stands for Secure Sockets Layer, and that is kind of the current standard for sending data over the internet that is safe. So HTTP sites, avoid those. Definitely don't send anything sensitive over those sites. And just as a general rule, never put anything, on the internet that you wouldn't be proud to have published the next day.